Welcome to Based on a Book, the podcast that promotes healthy friendships. I'm Lindsey, and I advise against following strangers into the jungle.
I'm Crystal, and before I go hiking, I tell people where I'm going to be and when I should be back.
And I'm Keri, and these are definitely not the vines I chose to quote.
In today's episode, I'll be leading you deep into the heart of April Adventures, where last time we got cozy with a robot making friends in the wilderness, and now, well, we're in the wilderness again. But this time it wants to kill us. We're talking The Ruins, a 2006 horror novel by Scott Smith that it proves that botany is secretly horrifying.
True.
So buckle up, grab your machetes, and for the love of all things good, do not touch the vines because we're breaking down the book and its 2008 film adaptation produced by Ben Stiller's company.
Or live in the vines, as Crystal is currently doing with her plants right now.
I thought I'd set the
She didn't
mood.
learn her lesson.
No,
Apparently
not at
not.
all. My vines are nice. They're nice. Maybe.
If you say so.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Mm-hmm. So, just to give a very brief explanation of the story, Amy, Stacy, Jeff, and Eric look for fun during a sunny vacation in Mexico, but they get much more than that after visiting an archaeological dig in the jungle. The story falls into the survival horror genre, in which characters would go to any length to conquer their environment and survive. So, first, we're going to get into our ratings. And I know who the obvious choice is, so instead, I'm going to start with Keri.
Oh, man. Okay. For the book, I was sending out mentally what my rating system was to both of you. I rated it 3 tequila shots.
Yes!
Did you get it?
I did!
Yes!
I didn't. And I'm glad.
Yes! 3 tequila shots. Honestly, if this book was a novella, I probably would have loved it. I think it was a little too long.
That's fair.
I think it just, dragged for me. But I like weird horror. I like bonkers, even if it's body horror, because I think I would categorize it as body horror. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm no horror expert over here, but I think it was just a little too long, and I did listen to the audiobook, and I don't think the narration was the best. Narrator kind of sounded like he had a cold the whole time. Not gonna lie. But yeah, I would give it a 3.
Okay. Crystal?
I kind of agree with Keri that it was a little too long, and that I listened to the audio as well, that the narrator, I feel like the narrator sounded like he was bored. Like he didn't really, he read it very dry. He read it very, very
It
dry.
reminds me of the Stephen King, The Mist, like that narration.
Yeah.
Like the way that Stephen King books are narrated a little bit.
But I gave it 1.5 annoying tourists because I'm not going to lie, I wasn't scared. This did not, I don't do scary. We all know that at this point. But this wasn't scary, and it was supposed to be. It wasn't even super suspenseful to me. The most interesting part was trying to figure out like how each one was going to die. Like I was trying to guess how everyone was going to die in my head, or who was going to make it, or who wasn't going to make it, or who was going to die first. And that was what kept me reading, because legit I would have DNF'd this.
Yeah, I honestly, thinking about it, the book, I'm not talking about the movie, but the book kind of didn't feel scary to me. It just felt disturbing and gross.
Yeah.
I think it's more supposed to be like that. Like that's how body horror is, I think.
Nah.
Yeah.
It just didn't do it for me in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
No, that's totally fair. I gave it 4 shots of tequila. I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was a little suspenseful. Like, I knew who the technical villain was.
Mm-hmm.
I say who. I guess I should say what.
What?
Mm-hmm.
But there were scenes that I was reading that I felt that I was holding my breath. I was like, "Oh my god, what's going to happen?" Like, I really enjoyed the story. But I do agree that it was a little long.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
This
like,
is just the book. I'm not talking about the movie yet.
yeah. I was like, let's wrap this up. Like, we gotta wrap this
Right.
up. Because if it was a novella, like, I'm talking like the sweet spot, like the 200-page, maybe like the 230, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the sweet spot for a really good horror novella for me.
I will say, without any spoilers, I did like the way this ended.
I did too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, me too. It was good.
Very satisfying ending. Was there anything else that we wanted to discuss before we get into it?
I mean,
No,
I have
I
tons
think
I want to discuss,
yeah,
but
I
it's
was like
all spoilers, so let's
yeah,
just go.
I wanna talk about all the spoily
Actually,
bits.
I want to give a heads up. This is one of those books where like 9 characters are introduced within the first like 3 pages, and they're not introduced with a lot
Mhm.
of description. And so I struggled keeping track of who was who for a little bit and ended
Yeah.
up having to like go write it out so that I could keep track. But as you get further in, I feel like it got better. So that's not a spoiler, but the rest of what I have to say is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to write it all the characters down and their relationships.
Yeah. Yep.
That was, like, a big thing for me.
I didn't have that problem. Normally, I do have a hard time keeping up with characters,
I
but this
think
one
that
wasn't so bad.
I think part of that though is that like Keri and I both listened to the audio. The audio was really
Mm.
dry. Like I think that
Yeah.
probably had a lot to do with it. If I had it in front of me, I might have at least had I don't know, maybe a tangible name to look at and touch and
Yeah.
feel it to. That's all I can figure. Because usually I'm not bad about it, but
I
seriously,
did
within the
read it.
first 5 minutes, like 9 different names were thrown at me, and I was like, "Whoa, wait, hold on."
Mhm.
No, that's
Yep.
totally fair. I did read it, so that was probably why it was easier. But all right, adventurers, consider this your official spoiler warning.
I do wanna say this is kinda
Ah,
crazy where wait.
what is it?
Wait, I wanna say that I feel like this is very like, a really large range of ratings right now.
Yeah, yeah,
That
it
I'm
was
is.
not surprised with crystals, honestly.
yeah.
No, but it's
Yeah,
not because
true.
it's not because I was scared though. Like with The Mist, I was
Yeah.
legit scared. I didn't like it because I did not enjoy myself.
Mhm.
This book wasn't because like I was scared. It wasn't because I didn't like want to know the story. And I was a little intrigued, but overall I found it kind of I don't want to say boring. It's not boring, but like well, without spoiling it, I can't really tell you what I felt. So
I didn't think it was because you were scared. I just thought it
Yeah.
was because you didn't like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's not your genre,
it's
Mhm.
not my genre. It's not my jam.
Yeah.
and that's okay.
True.
Yep.
Alright, let's get into spoilers.
Let's
Okay.
do it.
From this point on, we're diving deep into the ruins, both the book and the movie. So if you haven't read it, watched it, or if you're still blissfully unaware of why you should never, under any circumstances, touch mysterious vines in the jungle, this is your chance to turn back. We're about to discuss every chilling moment, every gruesome detail, and every questionable decision these characters make. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, go read the book, watch the movie, and then come back to join the horror. Otherwise, let's descend into the ruins together.
Or not.
Uh,
Yeah,
or
or
not.
not. I'm scared. I'm scared.
But both the book by Scott Smith and the 2000 film adaptation, which the screenplay was also written by Scott Smith,
Mhm.
they contain intense and graphic themes that may be distressing for some audiences, including body horror, gore, violence, death, paranoia, psychological horror, parasitic horror, self harm, amputation, medical horror, suicide, trapped or no escape, implied cannibalism, minor animal harm, helplessness, and slow death.
Anything else?
Did I miss anything?
that was a lot.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
So, if you're sensitive to these topics, please proceed with caution. This one is brutal.
Yeah. It's gory.
Very gory.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off with the movie. Normally we start with the book. But the beginning of the movie kind of gives us this little backstory that is mentioned in both the book and the movie, but we don't really hear about it in the book like we do in the movie. But anyway, we see a girl. She's crouching alone in the dark, and she's holding a cell phone, and she's crying for help. And then you see her get dragged away. And that's pretty much all we see of her.
You're like, what the hell's going on?
And it's dark. It like legit the screen is dark. And so like you barely can tell even what's going on. Which I kind of liked because like I like that setting the scene for like creepy, dark, scary.
Yeah. Honestly, for a second I thought it was one of the main characters.
I thought we were going to have another We Have Always Lived in the Castle.
Right, where they start at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that too.
Even I was thinking of like Good Girl's Guide to Murder, like we get like a little snippet in the very beginning on the first episode. I was like, oh, is that one of the characters? And then it wasn't.
Yep. So with both the book and the movie, we have 4 American tourists, Amy, Stacy, Jeff, and Eric, and they are vacationing in Mexico. Amy is dating Jeff, and Stacy is dating Eric. Most of them are about to go off to college. I know Jeff is going to medical school.
In the movie, I don't think he is in the book.
He is.
Oh, I thought they switched it up where like
so casually mentioned in the book.
But yeah. I thought Amy was the one going to medical school.
Jeff is.
Oh, okay. I thought they mixed that up between the two.
They mixed a lot of Amy and Stacy up.
Okay.
They mixed a lot of all the characters up.
Yeah. They were mixing up personalities, and it was really throwing me for a loop.
I did not like that.
Yeah.
Personalities, the things that happen to different characters happen to different characters. There was a lot of...
Well, I will say this, though. This might be a little controversial. I think the movie made more characters. I'm not saying all the characters, because we'll get into one character I really don't like.
Oh.
But one of the characters, or some of the characters in the movie, I think made them a little more likable than they were in the book.
Yes, I agree. And I think other characters in the movie made
That's
worse
in my
in the
opinion.
book.
That's my opinion.
But I think it crossed over. Like, some other characters they made way worse in the movie than were in the book.
I agree with that.
Yeah, like, well, I didn't feel like anyone was likable in the book at all.
I only liked one character in the book, and then I just didn't care for the other characters.
Yeah,
I liked one character in the book.
But, like, I feel like you should be able to care about whether you really hate them or really like them, but you shouldn't feel nothing about any of the characters.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
But in the movie, you like them or you hate them. I didn't feel like neutral about any of the characters. Besides the one dude in the very beginning.
I did not like Eric.
Nobody liked Eric
at all. Not in the book. I liked him in the movie. I didn't like him in the book at all.
In the movie, he was just kind of meh. In the book, did not like that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like, for me personally, I felt like I felt more for the characters in the movie than I did in the book.
Okay.
Like, whether it was hate or like. I didn't love any of the characters in there, but I felt like something towards them. In the book, I was like very neutral feeling. Like, I wasn't feeling anything for anybody.
Okay. And
I was like, interesting.
I was feeling a little hatred towards the author. Like at one point in the book, he like it's like you said, it was so long, and he would just like go into detail about like why this particular character is feeling a certain way and tie it back to their things that happened to them in their childhood and then as they grew up and the things that they got. But none of those things actually apply to any of what's happening. And this would go on forever, that we're learning about someone's, you know, buddy in high school or middle school that died or whatever.
Yeah.
And just like,
Oh, like their flashbacks in their
yeah,
life.
and their
things.
flashbacks don't have anything to do with what's happening now, and they don't help to endear us to the characters at all.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like,
Feeling
why?
so neutral the entire time. That was me.
I was like, dude, like, can I skip this section, please? But
Sure.
somebody out there absolutely loves this book. So I just don't want to be that person who's like, everyone should hate this. For me, I don't do this kind of scary story in general. I don't know if this is typical of the genre that they offer backstories like that, but it was not for me at all.
Yeah.
Well, while they're in Mexico, they become friends with Mateus, a German traveler, and Pablo, Juan, and Don Quixote, 3 Greeks who prefer to go by these Spanish nicknames that they've given themselves.
But in the movie, there's Dimitri. His name is
Right.
Dimitri in the movie.
It's also
Pablo,
Dimitri in the book, but they don't find that out until much later.
Yeah.
And he just goes by Pablo.
did he in the he did in the book, but did he in the movie? Or
No,
was
in the
it-
movie, he's
okay.
just Dimitri.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was confused because I was like, where are these Greeks? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they spoke English in the movie. Not
Mhm.
consistently. Like, I think he spoke English one time.
Right.
But yeah, I'm probably going to stick to calling him Pablo. I don't think I'm going to call him Dimitri because then I'll get him confused.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Makes sense.
Jeff volunteers their group, which again is Amy, Stacy, and Eric, to accompany Mateus as he searches for his brother, Onridge, who went missing after following a girl he met to an archaeological dig.
Which never in my life. No. You'll never see me do that. Absolutely not.
And not just any archaeological dig. One that's not on any of the tour guides or the maps or anything. And he was like, no, it's a VIP only. They're keeping it very hush-hush. Like, if it's not on a map, you had to hand draw me a map, I ain't going. If it's not on Apple Maps or Google Maps, I ain't going.
Nope.
No.
I'm not going to go with a stranger that I don't even know. Who's Joe Anderson with his fake German accent. I ain't going with him to the ruins.
Nope.
I don't trust this man.
No.
So Onridge leaves Mateus a handwritten note with the map to get to the dig site. And the group, they're leaving, they're going to follow this map. And as they're leaving the hotel, Pablo joins them. And he leaves a separate hand-drawn note with the map for Juan and Don Quixote so that they can find them later. And the 6 of them travel to, I think it's Coba. And then apparently that in Spanish that means lie or scam.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was interesting. But while they're there, they hire a man with a yellow pickup truck to take them to the spot that Onridge marked on his map, which is on the outskirts of Coba. And once they reach the drop-off point, the driver informs Amy that the destination is not good. And he offers to drive the group somewhere else.
And I would have turned my ass right back home.
And that exactly. Like, he's insistent. He's not just like, this is not a good spot, let's go somewhere else. He's like, no good. Come, I'll take you somewhere else. Come, not here. No good. And he's like basically begging her to come back.
And the movie doesn't really show that urgency.
No.
The movie,
he's like, nah, you don't want to be here. And the other guy's like, I'll give you $20. He's like, I'll take you.
Exactly.
Which is kind of how capitalism works, folks. Like, $20, let's go. You're going to your death, but I got $20.
Yep. And in the book, Amy doesn't understand the message, and they walk away. They go anyway. So they come across a hidden path near a Mayan settlement.
Also, they're not prepared. Like, literally, they're out in this jungle, like, they're hiking. The girl's got flip-flops on.
Stacy in the book has flip-flops on, and Amy in the movie has
Yeah.
flip-flops
Right.
on. They flip-flop the characters.
Yeah.
But they don't
They
have hardly
flip-flop
any
them.
food.
Yeah,
They don't
no
have hardly
food.
any, like, water. They have enough water for the day, basically, because they thought they were just going to go up there,
Yep.
grab old
Not
boy, and
prepared
head
for
on
a hike.
back. Because they're supposed to fly out and go home tomorrow, like the next day.
In the movie.
In the movie. In the book, I
Mhm.
think they had a few more days.
They had a whole week.
Yeah, in the book, it made it sound like they were down there for like a month.
They were down there for 3 weeks in the book.
Yeah, that's not. I want that kind of vacation.
I know.
Just
But I
saying.
think in the book, Mateus and Pablo are supposed to leave in like 3 days or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's very like shifty on who's going where, when, and who's wearing what, and who's carrying what. But long story short, they ain't prepared for this.
No.
Mm-mm.
They were
Yeah.
barely prepared for a hike, like, let alone
Right.
a archaeological excavation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they find this path, and it leads to a big hill covered in vines and surrounded by dirt. In the movie, it's actual ruins, and in the book, it's just a hill.
Well, and it was in the book though, wasn't it like a mine? They were mining for stuff. And it
It's a
was
hill, and there's a mine shaft on the top of the hill.
right, but they knew it was a mine to begin with. Like when they were going out there, they were going on to an
yeah.
old like silver mine or gold mine or something. Like they knew it
that
wasn't
the
like
mine was part of the archaeological dig.
right.
Yeah.
It wasn't like some like ruins of a like old temple. It was ruins of a different kind of. Like,
Well, they said that there were ruins nearby, and that they were gonna, 2 birds, 1 stone. They were gonna
so
check
they
out
were
the ruins.
okay. Because I
while
got
they were
lost
getting
on that part
together.
in the book. I was like, why is it called the ruins if they're just going into this old mine? Because like we got those in Kentucky. Like, we don't call them ruins. Like,
you go up to a hill, you're like, look at this. This
like
is
I got that out here. No, we can go home for that. We got that at home. Like,
yeah. We don't need to go travel on a plane to go see that. We got that at home.
we got that at home.
Just
I'm
thinking,
telling you.
Oh
Me down
my god.
in Mexico. Like, nope. You want to go to a zoo? We got those at home, and it's not that hot. Let's go. You want to go to ruins? We got caves at home. Let's go. It's a lot cheaper. Save your money, folks. Come to Kentucky.
Fuck Kentucky.
Hey, man, you want margarita? We can do that too, but we're better with bourbon. Just saying.
fair.
True.
So the group approaches the hill, and they are met by armed men from the village. And Jeff tries to communicate with the Mayans, but Amy steps on the vine-covered hill while attempting to photograph the entire group.
Her and this camera was really irritating my soul.
Through the whole book, every time they were like, Amy took a picture. I'm like, shut up, Amy.
While these people are like actively holding guns up at them, holding arrows at them,
and she's like, I'm going to take a picture.
and she's like this, I need to get back and get the shot.
Like,
me ready to take a TikTok.
like,
if this movie was remade for today, if that movie was remade for 2025, that would have been someone trying to make a TikTok.
Oh my god!
They were making vines.
I can't.
Making vines on a vine.
Oh god,
that was a bad joke.
So, because Amy steps on the vine, the men force the group up the hill. And in the movie, Pablo Dimitri, he approaches the villagers in an attempt to calm them, but he's shot and killed immediately. So
Mm-hmm.
in the movie, he's gone.
Which was shocking.
Oh yeah, I audibly gasped. I was like,
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
I was
shocking
like,
because
I just
that
read
doesn't
this
happen in the book.
I was like, I just
Yeah.
read this. That's not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Honestly, I was okay with it though because like we got so many characters in here. Like, honestly, get rid of one of them right now. It's okay.
I was really curious to see where they were going to go from here.
Oh, it got nuts. But my note for
Yeah.
that part is no Pablo, sub Dimitri, off him in first act. That's my note.
Yeah.
Like,
And like we said, this is super gory. So
yeah.
you see everything
Yep.
in this movie.
Mm-hmm. And this is just the beginning.
This
We
is just
haven't
the
even gotten
beginning.
there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at
We're
the
only
top
like
of the
10
hill,
minutes into the movie at this point. Like,
right? Like 100 pages into the book.
Yeah.
yep.
At the top of the hill, there is an abandoned encampment with tents and the mine shaft that we mentioned. And there's a rope that leads down into the mine shaft. And much of the camp is overrun with the vines. Jeff
Okay.
and
I'm sorry to stop you here, but I have to stop you here because in the book, they're described as these like green vines with glossy leaves and big red flowers. And all I could think of were the plant, because I've been playing a lot of Mario. The plants from Mario, like crunch, crunch. Like, it's all I could think of through the whole thing. And so
That's
from
really
this
funny.
moment on, this is why this book did not scare me. This is it.
That'll do it. Yeah.
Yep. So there you go. I hope I didn't ruin it for you.
No,
Maybe.
I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Yep.
Jeff and Mateus believe that they can escape down the opposite side of the hill, so they go down the other side to find more Mayans, and they are building a perimeter around the hill with bows and guns ready to shoot at them if they try to flee. They also locate Mateus's brother's body, and it's been overgrown with vines. And they're able to determine that he was actually killed by the Mayans because he was shot by arrows.
Well, whenever they first like touch the vines, like whenever they're approached by the Mayans are trying to get them away from it. Like they're like, "Come
Right.
on, you need to." And that I don't think it's shown very well in the movie. Like in
No.
the book, they're like, "No, you need to come with us. We need to go. We need to go. Don't step anywhere closer to it. You need to come with us." And they kept trying to push, and they're like, "No, no, no." And freaking that one girl is like, keep walking backwards. And that's what causes them to be like, "Well, now you touched it. You're staying. You're not leaving."
Yep.
And that was the whole setup of it. And it wasn't portrayed that way in the movie.
No, and in the movie, when Amy gets in the vines, I mean, she's in the vines, and I think it was Eric that tried to help her up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's in the vines.
Yeah.
It made more sense as to why everyone was trapped on the hill.
Yeah.
And not just Amy. But as they return to the camp, they discover that the vines secrete an acidic sap, which has burned their hands after they ripped the vines from Mateus's brother's body. And none of this is in the movie. Not the body, not the acid
No,
sap.
they did see his body for a second, but it was a very fast
It was way
second.
later too.
But it's also not Mateus. So it doesn't really there's no evidence that it's his brother.
Yeah.
Right.
We
And
just see like a watch or something.
And they're all like, when they realize that the one dude's hands are messed up, they're like, oh, he's having an allergic reaction to the vines. They don't realize that like it's eating through his skin.
Right. Let's see. Back at the camp, they begin to hear a cell phone ringing at the bottom of the mine shaft. So they use the rope to lower Pablo down in the book. But the acid from the vines has weakened the rope, which causes it to snap and sends Pablo plunging down the shaft. And in the movie, Pablo's dead, so this happens to Mateus.
Yeah.
Which I hated because legit,
I hate this part.
Mateus is my favorite character in the book.
Mateus was my favorite character in the book.
He's the only one I really felt like somewhat connected to
Yeah.
at all. And
I
and
didn't trust
we
him at
know the
first.
least about him,
Yeah.
and yet somehow I felt more connected to him and his responses to everything that was happening
Yeah.
than everybody else. So,
Yeah. I thought he was gonna be, like, sinister at first, like,
right.
taking us into, like, the middle of this place and, like, lying about his story or something, but
That
then
makes
he's
sense.
like, he's in here with us, like, screwed as well,
Yep.
so
Yep.
Also in the book, Pablo at the bottom of this mine shaft was, like, awful.
yeah.
And yet in the movie, Matthias down there is like, "I think I'm hurt." Like, he's just kind
No,
of
You
this
like,
know,
part was so awful.
well,
I
it was
hated this
awful, but
part.
he's like, "I think I'm hurt." He's not, like, screaming bloody murder
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Pablo was for 6 chapters. Well, there's not really chapters, 600 pages.
yeah,
It felt
yeah.
like
It
600
felt like it.
pages.
every time the book said that Pablo started screaming, I was like, "Oh, ooh,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
not good."
yeah.
But Amy and Jeff actually go down the temple steps to speak with the Mayans again. And in a rage, Amy tosses a clump of vines at a little boy.
Mhm.
In the
And
movie, not in the book.
yeah, and the Mayans just kill the little boy.
Because
Yep.
the vine touched him.
Mhm. So
I
that
Brutal.
Here's the
yeah.
thing, I think that was a nice touch, not because it was a good thing, but because without that in the movie, if you hadn't read the book, you might not have realized exactly what the Mayans were up to yet. And
It
Mhm.
did make it more obvious,
in
yeah.
that moment, you were like, "It's the vines." Like, you knew
Yeah.
that something was bad up there, and it was probably had to do with the plants, but, like,
Mhm.
now you know,
Yeah.
because they just and, like,
Yeah.
the mom was right there, like, screaming, like, "No, no," and nobody was going near him, and the kid's just standing there, and they just
Yeah.
shoot him.
Yeah, that's so true because sometimes when we see these adaptations, we notice a theme that sometimes we're like, I can't even imagine watching this movie without knowing what we know in the book.
Yeah.
Because, like, how do you even, especially the mystery ones that we're doing, how do you even come to a conclusion here of
Mhm.
the possibility? Because you need clues, like, you need some kind of clues coming here. And yeah, that was a perfect added touch to it.
Mhm. But that's when Jeff and Amy realize that the Mayans are scared of the vines,
Mhm.
and that's why they're not able to leave because they've all touched the vines. And after they doctor the rope, they lower in the book, they lower Eric down into the mine shaft
Mhm.
to
But
save
basically,
Pablo.
like, we're down a dude, right? Because, like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
in the book, we have we have 4 men and 2 women, right? Because we have Pablo, Matthias, Eric, and Jeff, and then Amy and Stacy at the top of this hill.
Yeah.
And in the movie, because Pablo was killed right off, we're down a dude. So now there's Matthias at the bottom of the well, and it takes 2 people to crank the thing down. So it has to be Eric and Jeff that stay up.
Mhm.
Whereas in the book, Matthias was helping to crank the thing down into the well.
Yeah. I did
I
have a theory
hated
about
this.
this. I did have a theory. Maybe this is me being,
The clueless
cynical.
detective.
No, cynical. But I did have a theory because, this is a, what, 2000s horror
8.
movie, 2008 horror
Yeah.
movie, you know, and I was like, "You know what? I really feel like" because, all the female characters are, like, half naked the whole time, and all the male characters are fully clothed because, that's what they do every
Right.
single time in these horror movies. And I was like, I swear on my life, they have this girl going down here and being the one that's cut so that she could be in her underwear for the the remainder of the movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, it makes sense.
So she could be just like in her underwear,
Yep.
barely any clothes on for the rest of the movie.
Yep.
Because the girl didn't have no pants on for so much of the movie. For
So
no
much of the movie.
reason. If I got vines coming out to kill me, best
I'm
believe
wearing
I'm wearing
clothes.
pants.
Yep.
Even if it's the pants that ripped, I'm wearing freaking pants.
Yep.
Like, you're in the jungle
Yeah,
already, so talk
yeah,
about sunburn everywhere.
exactly. And I was like, I swear they did this to this character. I mean, Crystal, your idea totally 100% makes sense. But
Well,
right,
that's
that was my immediate thought in my
No,
head. I was like,
I think you're
there's
right. I think they
yeah,
changed the story this way so that they
yeah,
would have an excuse to send the girls
yeah.
down the well and then
Like,
end up with no
yeah, they have to
pantsless.
have sex appeal in this movie
And what
in
was the weird
order.
sex in the book? Well, I mean, it's
Oh
later,
my
but
god.
yeah. But
Well,
why? In
there's
these survival situations, who's
yeah,
thinking of that?
yeah.
Who's thinking of that?
There's the weird sex in the book, the weird just like
Pantsless people.
just gross different thing like pissing, shitting,
Yeah.
everything, throwing up. Anything that's coming out of your body is fully described in this book.
Yep. I'm glad they left lots of that out of the
Yeah,
movie.
I was scared. I was like,
I
"That's gonna
was
be the true
too.
horror here."
Yep. Yep.
Is if that I mean, it's still disgusting, this movie is, but
Mhm.
Some of it ended up being unnecessary, and some of it was kind of
yeah.
necessary.
I mean, I
Maybe.
wanna save how I feel about the movie until the end.
Okay.
Okay.
So they doctor the rope, they send Eric down, or Stacy, depending on if you're talking about the book or the movie.
Mhm.
And Eric or Stacy jumps to the bottom after they realize that the rope is too short. And I'll say Eric because it's in the book. Eric
Mhm.
injures his leg.
Yep, cuts his leg.
Yeah. And the remaining people that are not in the mine shaft, they construct a makeshift rope to make the rope longer using one of the tents. They braid the strands of the tent together. And Eric discovers that Pablo's back is shattered, which has paralyzed him from the waist down.
Like, this is, like I hated this.
Yeah, this was dark.
This was so dark. In the movie, when they're trying literally, I was screaming at the top of my lungs when they're trying to get him on that. Oh, I can't even think about it right now. I put a pillow in front of my head and I was literally screaming. I didn't even watch it.
The
I couldn't.
sounds in the movie of
Yeah.
them trying to get him onto the
They're like, "We'll
makeshift,
just pick him
like,
up."
yeah.
The man with the broken back, he can't even feel his legs.
Like they pick him up in the book too. And it sounds
It's
like they
gruesome in the book, but it's because we get to see it in the movie and
And
hear
hear
it
it.
and
Mhm.
hear it.
And
It
it's the
was
two girls who do it, and they
right.
don't do it well.
No.
No. No.
Like
No.
they're talking about not wanting to shift him or move
And
him.
then they're like, "We'll just throw him onto it." Like, what?
Well, they pick him up and then immediately like squish his body in between them. I was like, "What are you doing? You're not even trying."
That was actually probably the worst scene, I think, and there's so many
There's so many
terrible
bad,
scenes,
gruesome moments.
and that was honestly the scene that most affected me. It really did.
I
Well, for
hated that
real,
scene.
they get him out of the mine shaft.
Mhm. So they have to construct a makeshift rope with the tents with the backboard too because they have to put them on the backboard.
Mhm.
So they have to actually
Like, they would have
make
been better off just putting a sling under his arms and like limping, like letting him be limp, and then they were scrunching and tossing him the way they did.
Oh my god.
they
I
made
can,
it
like,
so much
still
worse.
hear it. I could still hear it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Traumatized over here. It was awful.
But this is when Amy goes down to the mine shaft in the book. So it's Eric and Amy in the mine shaft that actually get Pablo onto the backboard. So then they lift Pablo out, and it's just Amy and Eric in the shaft, and they start to hear the phone ring again. But Eric is looking around; he still can't find it. You know, they're looking for a light because they're in there in the dark. He doesn't see anything.
And
Um,
it's like first they hear it, they think it's over here, and then they think it's over
Mhm.
there, and
mhm.
and it's too dark for them to really tell, and
Yep.
Yeah.
that was annoying to me. I was in at that moment in the book, I was like, don't give up. Like, set all these vines on fire, find the freaking phone.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the lamp ends up going out too, like right
Right.
as Pablo gets out. It's like
Mhm.
Yep.
convenient. So the group is actually still confident that Juan and Don Quixote will arrive after following Pablo's note. So Jeff begins to ration food and water, and he determines before they go to bed that they should have someone stay awake, and they'll take shifts to watch over Pablo.
I don't remember Jeff being so damn annoying as he was in the movie. The movie Jeff really irritated my soul.
The Jeff in the movie was irritating. The Jeff in the book was also irritating, but we at least got his perspective a lot.
Yeah.
So it made more sense.
Yeah.
I firmly believe I'm a Jeff. Like, I would have been the one who was like, you guys.
I wanted to fight Jeff every 10 seconds.
I know. And as I'm reading this, I'm like, I get it, dude. And they all are going to hate you.
Mm-hmm.
But I also understand exactly. And that's why I loved Matthias, because he really, like, he understood what Jeff was trying to do. He was also like, I'm going to let you be the bad guy, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, like, Jeff was like, this is me. I watched 5 seasons of Grey's Anatomy, so I'm going to cut off and do all this surgery on everybody. That'd be
now,
me.
look, he was an Eagle Scout. So for him being all like, I know how to ration water. Like, I know how to create things. Now, the surgery part was a little different.
Yeah, he just wanted to cut everybody. That was his favorite thing to do.
He was like, I got the knife and I know how to use it.
That's all he wanted to do.
In the movie, yeah, I'm no doctor. I'm no expert. But I wouldn't hold a knife like this and like cut into people.
Like a carving a turkey going in and out.
Yeah.
To cut someone, especially if you're going to medical school.
Yep, nope, would not.
I'm no doctor, but I wouldn't have used a rock to do what he did here in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, no. And also, like, the fact that somebody that doesn't listen to anybody else's opinions on anything, and literally, and he kept saying, like, he's like, no, we're fine. They're going to be coming any day now and all this stuff. And it was just driving me crazy that he wouldn't listen to anyone else when they were saying their opinions. I was like, who died and made this guy in charge?
He's an Eagle Scout. He was an Eagle Scout.
I don't care.
I don't either, but he was real proud of it.
I don't care. You could be an Eagle Scout all day long. You're still going to listen to me.
We had a flashback in the book about his
You're still going to listen to me.
How proud she was. And the flood or something. I don't remember. He was the Eagle Scout.
No, I'm not going to have no Eagle Scout be telling me what to do when I'm honestly, like, look, this is my idea. Just listen to my idea.
Your idea is going to suck.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's not. But that's what Jeff thinks. He and that's why I didn't like him, because he really did think that, like, Amy was dumb, Stacy was dumb. There's no point in listening to them at all.
Yeah.
And it was really, now, in his defense, they kind of were.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is that, especially with the way that Eric I don't remember how it was in the book, but Eric in the movie was really fighting to go to the truck the entire time. I'm going all over the place, but he kept arguing the entire time, like throughout this and all the scenes, about trying to get to the truck, and he would not listen. Like, we're all dying out here. Like, we're all about to die.
We just watched them shoot a little boy and our dude Pablo.
Yeah, we need to make a plan. We're not going to be sitting here and surviving and wait to maybe. He's like, this doesn't happen to Americans. Americans don't just disappear. He kept, like, saying that over and over again. Like, people don't just disappear.
Have you watched the news, bro?
What are you? Aren't you an Eagle Scout member? Is this what's going on there?
I'm telling you.
Is this what they teach in the Eagle Scouts?
Yeah, like, what is going on?
There's
the survival
any Eagle
instincts?
Scouts out there, please let us know.
Yeah. I was so triggered by this man.
Well, as night falls, Jeff returns down the hill to find that the Mayans are still there, but he notices an opening where he may be able to escape. And as he approaches the base of the hill, he hears a flock of birds nearby that end up alerting the Mayans to his location. But this is just in the book. This doesn't happen in the movie. And the next morning, everyone wakes up to see that the vine has wrapped around Eric's leg. And it has pushed itself into his wound from where he jumped down to the bottom of the mine shaft. And the vines are also wrapped around Pablo's legs.
Slash Matthias.
Slash Matthias.
Depending on the book or the movie.
Correct. As they take the vines off of... Well, okay, so even this is different. In the movie, they can't get the vines off of Matthias's legs. But in the book, they do take the vines off of Pablo's legs. But either way, they end up noticing that the vines have eaten his lower legs, and it's just bone, basically. And this leads to Amy throwing up in the book. And she and Stacy see that the vine comes and actually absorbs the puddle from the dirt. Trying
Ew.
to keep it clean.
It's gross.
Me, I was like going in earlier.
Jeff decides to post signs at the base of the hill to urge the Greeks to stay away and to seek help. And as he moves around the hill, he discovers more bodies of other people who have died there. And he also realizes that the vines only consume organic things, since the victims' passports, jewelry, and the arrowheads and the bullets are still intact.
Mm-hmm.
And he discovers that the Mayans are terrified of the vines because they've salted the dirt around the hill to keep the vines away. And they're willing to kill anyone who tries to leave. And he also notices that that's how the vines are spreading, is that the spores are attaching to their clothing. So Jeff returns to where he originally placed his signs, and the signs are gone. He initially suspects that the Mayans stole the signs, but he looks into some brush and he notices that the vines took the signs. And there is actually a warning sign that was left by a previous victim that was carved into a pan. So Jeff returns to the camp and he shares the news with the others. He also has someone wait at the bottom of the hill in case the Greeks arrive. And meanwhile, Pablo's condition is getting worse, and his flesh is gone, and Jeff is worried that he's going to get an infection. So while Amy's at the bottom of the hill looking for the Greeks, the rest of the group decide to amputate Pablo's legs.
Mm-hmm. This part in the movie was gross.
Yep.
It was rough.
They actually did at least do it pretty close to the book with food.
Yeah.
So he had the rock in the fire, and he used the rock to break the legs, and then he sterilized the knife in the fire, and then he used the knife to cut the legs off. Yeah. So
he's like, "Don't worry, guys, I'm a doctor."
Yep.
So with their supplies running low, Jeff decides to return to the mine shaft in search of the cell phone, accompanied by Amy. And in the mine, he creates a torch, and they search for the phone by following the sound down another shaft. And in the movie, this is Amy and Stacy again. Jeff realizes that there is no phone, that the vines can mimic sounds that they hear, and they've been trying to trick him and Amy into falling into another shaft. As Amy is removed from the mine, the group hears the vines laughing. And meanwhile, Eric becomes increasingly agitated because he's convinced that the vine is growing inside of him, and no one believes him.
And in the movie, this is where the girl that we saw in the very beginning is down in the mine shaft.
This is where the cell phone comes back into play. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So later, Eric, Amy, and Stacy get drunk on Pablo's tequila in the book. And this results in an argument. And they are horrified to discover that the vines can also imitate voices. And Pablo wakes up and asks for water, which Amy gives him along with a grape from the group's rations. Jeff returns and he's furious because they're all drunk and they don't have any water in them. They don't have any water, period.
Yep. Actively dehydrating yourself.
Mm-hmm. And Eric decides to hurt himself again while attempting to remove more of the vine from his body. After Jeff and Amy get into an argument, she leaves him so that he can watch over Pablo. And later into his shift, Jeff hears Amy calling out to him, and she's getting sick, she's throwing up, but he just assumes that it's from the alcohol and he ignores her. And the next morning, they find Amy dead because the vines have grown down her throat and have basically suffocated her.
Oh.
So in the movie, the vines do that to Matthias.
Mm-hmm.
And then Eric says, "Thank God we cut his legs off."
Yeah.
And I cracked up. I was like, "This, you can't have one funny moment in like this whole movie," but I needed that. I needed that at that moment. I needed that break because damn.
You
And
know,
they
everybody was
show the
thinking it.
vines crawling into his mouth and everything.
Yeah,
It's
and
messed
like
up.
literally choking him, and it was.
And of course he's paralyzed and he's missing legs. So it's not like he can get up and run. And the vines had distracted everybody else with their weird mimicking thing that they were doing, their mimic powers.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy is alive in the movie.
Yes. In the movie, Amy is alive.
Yep.
The vines have wrapped around Eric's leg again. Eric was asleep in the tent. Every time he goes to sleep, the vines come back. So the vines are back in his leg, in his cuts, and now they're also in the cut that he's made in his chest. And they end up placing Amy's body in a sleeping bag after Jeff tries to get them all to agree that they should preserve her body.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, I lost myself.
Well, they're all like, so Amy's in the sleeping bag. Dead. Eric is slicing himself open still because there's more vines. Jeff and Matthias, who's still alive in the book, are like talking to each other about like, you know, really there's no hope. We just need to try to survive a little bit longer, and you know, because you never know if the next minute's going to be the right one or whatever. Stacy is mad that they were potentially going to eat her friend, you know, and so she's trying to snuggle with Eric, but Eric's getting colder and colder and colder, and she's freaking out.
In the movie, it's Stacy who has had the cut the entire time. So Stacy is the one who's having this crisis with vines growing inside of her, and she keeps freaking out and feeling like these vines are growing inside her and keep wanting to cut it out. That's the difference with those characters. And she's half naked the entire time.
And Matthias is already dead at this point in the movie.
Yeah, it's so different at this point. It's hard to keep up with the two.
Well, they kind of like they cut out this section because, like, in the book, like they've already, like, they're kind of mad at each other, kind of pouting, and like it rained at one point, so he's trying to collect water.
Yeah,
and then like suddenly, the sleeping bag moves, and like Amy's talking. But we all know it's not Amy. It's the vines mimicking Amy, trying to get them to open the bag.
Yeah. Well, not only is she calling for Jeff, she's also like kicking. Like the sleeping bag is like, it's like she's kicking.
Right. And so they do end up opening it up, and I think they find something in the bag or whatever. She's just disgusting. And of course, Stacy freaks out even more because the vines are eating her friend worse. And like the vines are mentally torturing these people at this point. And like even Stacy's like, they're just plants, and Jeff is like, are they though, or do they just look like plants? Like we don't know anything about them except they're killing us.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that.
there's even a point, like, they're not even, like, mimicking, like, they're mimicking voices, but they're also, like, creating conversations
Mhm.
because they're also, like, trying to create problems where it
Like,
tries to
they're
say
saying
that.
to, like, Eric that, like, Amy was sleeping with
Yeah.
or whatever. Like, it's like, "I
Yeah.
heard you sleeping with him. I heard you talking together." And they're like, "Dude, no.
Mhm.
Whatever." And so, like, these plants are messed up. I will say one big difference between the movie and the book is in the book, they get blitzed on that tequila. They
Mhm.
get trashed. And in the movie, they really
Yep.
don't. And one of my notes was at this point, after the vines have smothered Matthias, I was like, at this point, I'd be trashed. Why are they not trashed?
Yeah.
'Cause if I knew I was going out, like, I'm going out pickled in tequila. Like,
Mhm.
there's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
that night after the whole Amy incident in the sleeping bag, Jeff is on the lookout for the Greeks, and this is when it begins to rain for the first time. And this forces the Mayans to seek shelter in the trees. Is this the first time it rains, or is this the
second
second
time. I
time?
think it's the
This is the
second time
Yeah.
because
second
it's a
time.
really big rain. This is like a
This is the really
storm.
bad, yeah.
Yeah.
So Jeff sees an opportunity to flee to find help,
Mhm.
but he is killed by the Mayans.
Yep.
And as he dies, he feels the vines pull his body back to the hill. And during the storm, Stacy uses the rain to wash herself while Matthias looks after Pablo. And Eric is sleeping in the tent. And later, this is as Crystal was saying, the vines are mimicking the sounds of Stacy and Matthias having relations while Eric is asleep.
Having relations.
And Stacy is a known offender. So I'm actually curious if it happened because Stacy says it doesn't happen, but Matthias was like,
It's
dude,
like,
why
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 would
does
it
it
matter if
matter?
it did? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
True.
So I'm actually kind of curious. And Eric makes the point that the vines don't create words or conversations, they mimic.
Yeah.
So
That's
mm-hmm.
true.
I was actually really curious if it did happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll
Also,
never
in the
know.
movie, Jeff does not die yet at this
No,
point.
Jeff is still alive in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically, everyone is alive but Matthias and Pablo.
Mhm.
pretty
At
much
Movie.
this
in the
point.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. The final four, it's the couples.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
Mhm.
yeah, it's the Stacy and Amy and Eric and Jeff, the four American couple, the two couples, and they're the only ones left in the movie, and they make it right up until like this moment because like it's the next day, right? That like in the book, Eric has they don't know where Jeff is. He hasn't come back, and Eric's slicing himself open. But in the movie, it's Stacy slicing herself open,
Mhm.
and like in the book, Matthias goes to Eric and is like, "Dude, stop! Give me the knife! Give me the knife!" Because it's the
Well, this
very
is
next
also the
morning,
point
right?
that this is the next day. Matthias, after this argument, discovers that Pablo was smothered to death by the
By the
vines.
vines,
hmm
right? So Pablo is dead in the book now.
Pablo is
Mhm.
dead in the book now. And when Matthias goes, because the vines start sounding like Pablo breathing. So when he goes to investigate, he finds Jeff's hat on Pablo's head.
Right. And so they know that
hmm
obviously the vines wouldn't have had Jeff's hat unless Jeff is gone.
hmm
Mhm.
And so they go to try and stop Eric from slicing himself open.
Well, the vines taunt Matthias
Right, with his brother.
with his brother
Mhm.
and his brother's voice, and he's speaking German. And this is how he says that Onridge is dead, and then they do it again, but with Jeff, and it says it in German. It says that Jeff is dead, and
I wonder how many languages those vines know.
they didn't learn Greek though. Maybe it will
Yet.
with the yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yet. Yet.
okay. Um, so yes. Matthias removes the vines from Eric's chest and leg because there's more. They see him. Matthias and Stacy go down the hill. This is when they find out that Jeff is dead, technically, but they go down the hill to look for Jeff, even though they've already
They're
found
pretty
his
sure,
hat.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Eric is left alone at the top of the hill with the knife, and he begins cutting himself open to remove the vines himself. And
again, in the movie, it's Stacy that's slicing herself open. She's not wearing any pants, and now she's covered in blood.
Yes. But then Stacy and Matthias start hearing the vines say the same thing in German, but it's Eric. And they try to tell them that Eric is dead. So they run back up the hill to the camp. They find him alive, but he's covered in blood.
Mm-hmm.
And he's cut off his own ear. And Matthias attempts to steal Eric's knife, and he gets stabbed in the chest.
But straight in the heart. In the
Yeah.
book, they describe the knife moving with his final heartbeats. It's very
gross.
Yep.
Mhm.
But in the movie,
Mhm.
it's Amy or Stacy who's slicing
Yeah.
herself open,
Mhm.
and Eric goes to stop her. Eric, her boyfriend,
The one
Yep.
with the bullseye on his shirt.
Yeah.
right?
Well, before, whenever she was like asking for them, because whenever she saw, they did see vines in her. Whenever they kept saying, "No, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine," and they said finally believed her because they saw vines in her. Then we got Mr. Cutter over here was like cutting it like a turkey, trying to get the vine. I mean,
Yep. And then finally
you
just
didn't hit
decided,
anything like a spleen or something whenever you were doing
right?
that. And so then she's like, okay, fine. And then she's like, I feel like it's still there. It's still there. It's in my head. And they're like, no, it's okay. It's okay. And you see the little
Mm-hmm.
vine go across her forehead. And they're all like, oh, no, it's okay. It's fine. Everything's fine. I was
Because
like, oh my God.
right? And they all realize they can't cut her anymore because she's lost so much blood.
Yeah.
That at this point, it doesn't matter that there's vines inside you. We can't keep cutting you.
Yeah. And so she like starts going insane and just starts literally chopping herself up all over the place.
And then Eric goes to get the knife from her, and
Yeah.
this is where the book and the movie somewhat are the same because
Yeah.
she turns around and stabs him in the chest.
Yeah.
And my note on that is bye-bye, Eric.
Yeah.
It's
And
all
then
the
she's
chest.
so distraught by it because
That's
he
my
just
last note,
stabbed her
apparently.
boyfriend in the chest.
Mhm.
And she's like, just kill me, kill me. And Amy's holding her because Amy's still alive in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And holding her and being like really upset about it.
I can't.
Yeah.
And then Jeff is
Jeff's
watching.
like, I love doing this. I'm
Well,
used to it.
Jeff is watching the vines pull off Eric's body. They just
Mhm.
come
Yeah.
and take it. And he's
Yeah.
looking around, and he looks down, and all he sees is Amy holding Stacy, who's
Yeah.
Stacy's begging for Amy to
Yeah.
kill her.
Yeah.
And so he's like,
He's got to do it.
and Amy's all like, I can't. And he's like, I guess I have to.
Yeah. He's like, don't worry, I got this. Well, first of all, I was going to get so pissed if he was going to let the body go with the knife still in it. I was
Right?
like,
Mhm.
can you grab the damn knife?
For
Mr.
real.
Boy Scout, go get the knife.
Mr.
He's
Boy
not the
Scout.
smartest Boy Scout in the world.
He thought he was.
He sure did.
Med student, go.
So now
get
we're
the
down
knife.
to 2. But in the book, we're down to 3 at this point.
Mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
Are we
No.
still just down to Jeff and just Jeff, isn't it? No Jeff.
No.
Stacy.
Stacy.
Yeah,
Just
just
Stacy.
Stacy. And then
Yep.
in the movie, we have Jeff and Amy.
Yes. So, yes, in the book, Eric kills Matthias. The vines get Matthias, drag his body away. Eric is in a lot of pain and he's cut up. He's too weak to do anything himself. So Stacy stabs Eric in the heart
Mm-hmm.
in the book. So Stacy's now alone, and she walks to the bottom of the hill to wait for Juan and Don Quixote. And the Mayans believe that she is the last survivor, so they've started to tear down their camps and clean up. And by the end of the day, when the Greeks don't arrive, Stacy cuts her wrists, and thinking that her body will serve as a warning to keep anybody from going up the hill, she bleeds out right there at the end of the path. But then the vines pull her into the undergrowth, so there's no warning. In the movie,
I thought
a
this was interesting.
I actually
Did you guys
enjoyed
like
that they
this? Okay,
switched it up.
I was gonna ask if you guys like this or not.
I mean, I don't like this ending. Like, of the two endings, I prefer the book ending
yeah,
because we're not quite there yet. But I don't hate that they changed it. I
Yeah.
like it when a movie is different enough from the book that I can enjoy them both separately, and I
Yeah.
think this is it. So,
I
Yeah.
figured you wouldn't like the ending of the movie because it's so open.
yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the end of the movie. It is what it is, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not bad. It's just not great either.
Yeah. So at the end of the movie, Jeff covers Amy in the blood from Stacy and has her play dead. Jeff carries her down the steps of the temple and lays her on the ground, and he distracts the Mayans so that Stacy can get up and escape. And she runs through the jungle as Jeff is shot. She makes it to Onridge's vehicle, which wasn't in the book at all.
Mm-mm.
She gets it to start, and she drives away. She makes
Mm-hmm.
it. So we have a survivor in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
there
we
are
see, like, in the last cutaway scene, as she's driving away, we see a little vine. I don't remember if it was in her eye or in her
I thought
forehead,
that
but we
was
see a little
just in the
something.
okay. That's in the I thought
alternate
that
ending.
alternate ending.
That's just an
Oh.
alternate ending for the DVD.
Oh, well then that's the one I saw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
there's like an unrated version that has an alternate ending to it
Mhm,
where you see a little vine that goes across her head.
mhm.
And there's also, I don't know if it's a different alternate ending or if it continues after that, but like we see like the other friends that were supposed to come eventually
Yeah.
get there. But then it goes later where this guy who's like walking across like past gravestones
He's a
and walk
caretaker in a cemetery.
yeah,
Mhm.
and he walks past her gravestone
Mhm,
and those vines are growing out of her gravestone.
I
mhm.
didn't
Like
see that.
out
I
of
wonder if it was after the credits, because I definitely turned it off at the
yeah,
end of the
I don't
credits.
know,
I'll
yeah.
have to go back and check.
That was the unrated version. I didn't have that, but I looked up and saw that there was like an alternate ending to it. And I
Mhm.
was like, well, that would have been cool
Maybe
because
that's
my
why I didn't
ending
mind it.
just was her driving off.
Yeah, that was just my ending too.
Yeah.
Well, I got the squiggle. I got the right, and then the like the Greeks, and they brought a couple people with them, like getting off the bus to head to the ruins and like
Yeah.
finding the path.
Yeah.
In the book it's the Greeks and some other people, some Brazilian tourists.
Hmm.
In the movie it's just the Greeks. But yeah, they find the path, and a small girl runs to the village and warns them about the new visitors, but they're already halfway up the hill and they're yelling for Pablo.
Mhm.
Um, so the cycle continues.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
So final verdict, book or movie?
I hate to say it.
Neither. Can I say neither?
You can say neither.
I'm gonna say
I
neither.
like the movie more.
I didn't hate the movie. I didn't hate it.
Is that bad to say?
No, because the movie's faster paced. You
Yeah.
get the
Mhm.
gist of it. There is more psychological terror in the book, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it's the same premise.
Even like the horror part of it, like the gross parts that are not my favorite thing in horror. I didn't mind. I just like when stuff has such like an effect on me, even if it's bad.
Mm,
And I am a character driven reader. I'm a character
Yeah.
driven. Even though there's an argument that this book is character driven, but I just didn't feel anything for the characters in the book. But when I watched the movie, I felt for the characters, whether it was loathing, Jeff, or if it was like I felt like I'm not gonna say I'm rooting for anybody, but like I felt kind of bad that
Yeah.
they were in these circumstances.
I will say I also like the movie. Like it's not the genre I ever watch by choice, ever. But if I knew someone else was like, you know, I would recommend this to someone who I know likes these types of things. Like, because it really didn't seem that awful to me. But I also really like Jenna Malone, so
Yeah, I love her.
she's pretty awesome. And Sean Ashmore, who played Eric,
Mhm.
has a twin brother who's also an actor. They're identical twins, Aaron Ashmore, and he played one of my favorite characters in Warehouse 13. He played Jinx. And at first I was like, is that Jinx? And so I had to go looking it up. I'm like, nope, they're twins. That's not confusing at all. Like,
Wonder how difficult that is in the industry.
right?
Yeah. What about you, Lindsay?
Yeah, you know, if you want fast paced, I say go for the movie. The book is pretty slow, so it's kind of hard to get into. But I really did like the book, so it's hard for me to choose one over the other.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But that leads us to the question of the episode. Would you rather be trapped in the jungle with an unknown deadly force or stranded in the ocean with something circling beneath you? I'm going to start with Crystal.
I mean, I'm going to say jungle because, like, ocean, like, what are the chances of me ever finding land? What are the chances of me finding anything to drink? What are the chances of me finding any food? Like, my chances of survival there are slim to none.
Mhm.
Jungle, I at least have a chance at finding something to eat, something to drink, a little bit of shelter. You know, and if it comes down to it, like, I'll just drink myself to death. Like, you know, give me that tequila. Like,
Damn.
Keri.
Okay, so I'm stranded in the middle of the ocean.
Mhm.
What do I have in the middle of the ocean? Like, what am I stranded on? Am I floating?
small island raft. Like,
Yeah, am I on an island?
Not an island. You are in the ocean. I haven't decided if you're on a raft or a door.
A door?
a door.
Oh,
It's the
come
cold
on.
ocean then. There's icebergs. Look out.
I'm not even on a boat.
I'm going to say a life raft.
A life raft? Oh, I'm going to the jungle.
Yep. Okay.
I got tequila. You can come with me.
Okay.
Like,
I also went with jungle because I can't swim.
party.
Yeah.
And
Midnight margaritas.
if there's something circling beneath me in the ocean, I don't want to be some floating charcuterie board or something. So
Yeah, I don't like water, so
I
I
don't
don't
either.
think if I had like a big boat, I could like work with that. Being stranded in the middle of the ocean on a boat, maybe.
With food.
Yeah, like
That's
well,
my
like
main concern is like, what am I
yeah,
going to eat?
yeah,
Mhm.
Like,
If you can like catch fish.
yeah.
no. No.
Well, I guess that's gonna wrap up this episode. Hopefully, not the kind of wrapping that's like deadly sentient vines or anything.
Yeah, no thanks.
Pass.
We've hacked our way through the book, survived the movie, and debated just how doomed we'd be in this nightmare scenario. Whether you'd take your chances with flesh-eating plants or lurking sea creatures, one thing is for sure: nature is terrifying, and we're never going outside again. But before we retreat, we want to hear from you. What would you do if you found yourself in the middle of the ruins? Let us know on our socials. We've got Blue Sky, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, all those. And we will be back next week with another adventure. So until then, maybe just stick to the resort pool, and if you hear a vine whispering your name, you should probably run. Okay, bye!
Bye.
Bye.